Good evening, everybody. I have a chance here in this beautiful spring day where there's no wind, so I want to show you my shade garden. It is freshly amended and actually looks pretty good, so let's do a little walkthrough together. This first section is where I keep several of my herbs. Some are very small right now. I have some parsley here in the front, and then I have some thyme that I started last year, some common thyme that is actually flowering. And that little sad thing over there in the middle is a lemon thyme. And all of these are my green onions and my oregano and my chives. I started all of these from seed except for the lemon thyme that I did purchase. Next to that little herb patch, I do have a couple other herbs. I have some garlic that didn't come up last year, but it's coming up this year. I did not plant that this year. That's from 2020. And then I have some cilantro that I started from seed that is doing so well out here actually. And those little guys there are all new green onions, and these tall ones I started from seed last year, so it's amazing the difference that a year makes. Moving down a little bit from the herbs, I have some freshly transplanted kale, and it is so little, but it actually seems quite happy out here. Some of this stuff looks like it doubled since I planted it yesterday. Then there's my rosemary plant. I did buy that, and it was sad in a little pot, so I transplanted it and it's doing so much better. So here in this middle row, I have some chives that are about to bloom, some empty soil, and then this sweet little lettuce patch that actually germinated. This front lettuce is Merlot, the middle lettuce is oak leaf, and then the far side is a mesclun mix from Botanical Interests. So I'm really thrilled because this is bigger than the lettuce that I direct sowed last year. I probably do need to thin it, but I don't have the heart to just yet. I've been fertilizing instead just to see what seedlings are going to make it, and it looks like actually a lot of them will. So I do need to thin. And immediately next to that I have some of my Brussels sprouts, and they're not doing much. They don't probably get enough sun back here, but you can see some sprouts there. This one further in actually has some sprouts underneath. I just think they're pretty at least. And yes, I last year did pick some of the sprouts to eat, so I'll go through eventually and pick those off before I pull the plants out. You can see the rest of this bed is empty until we get to that back section. We'll go there next. So back here I have transplanted some kale that was in some different beds. I redid those beds. If you followed me on my Instagram, you saw the finished product. But this kale needed to be moved, so it's over here now. And I do have all this extra pine straw in the walkways that I need to remulch the beds with, but it just looks so nice without it. I know the weeds are gonna grow if I don't remulch it, so I wanted to show you the beds while you could actually see the dirt and see where the beds are. Not far from that kale, I have some lettuce. This I planted inside, and you can see it's about the same size as what I direct sowed, which makes me think that I never want to grow lettuce inside again because I don't think it was worth all the trouble. These are some Snapdragons and some violas. I did pinch the Snapdragons, so they are nice and bushy, but I don't see any buds yet on the Snapdragons, and they go all the way around back of this bed here. I love these little Johnny jump ups. I started these all from seed. I didn't quite know what I was getting into, but they are just darling, and they're the only flowers I've had all winter long, so I'm so grateful that I've gotten to look at those. And I did try to grow pansies as well, but only a couple plants made it. But wow, their flowers are striking. I definitely would love to grow more pansies next year. And as you can see, the Snapdragons make it all the way around. Some of them had some frost damage. We had a really low night out of nowhere toward the end of the winter. And then here's another kale patch because you can never have too much kale. Next to that kale, I do have one more patch of green onions. I winter sowed these green onions and it was so worth it. I barely did any work for all of these. And those there on the side I grew last year, so I've really been happy with how many green onions I have now. And so we have all this empty space, and I've just decided to go ahead and start some seeds tonight for some pumpkins and watermelons and such to put over here. So that's an overview of the shade garden. Thanks for watching my shade garden tour. I have so many plants that I'm going to be planting out there, and yes, it's shaded, but I've grown peppers and pumpkins and tomatoes back there, so it's not too shaded for possibility. So stay tuned to see what I put back there, and subscribe and like this video if you want to stay tuned for more and see how it goes. Thanks for watching.